Hi, everybody. I decided to start a little web series here of all the things that I get asked on a regular basis on how to get started. I'm a web developer, been doing this about 10 years, and I get asked this question a lot, and I thought it would be just fun to make a video and have some information that I can refer people to or talk to people and just kind of help them along the way in getting started on the internet. Or not on the internet, really, but as a website, as a business, or even just for our personal use. So I made a little slide setup, and I guess we're just going to walk through this and we can talk a little bit about how to get started and just the basic things of what you need and maybe some information you didn't know. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will make a video following up to this to answer any of those questions. So, there we go. Where to start? Couple things you're going to need first thing you'll need is a domain. That can be purchased in a variety of different places. I use Namecheap or mydomain.com, or you can use GoDaddy, HostGator, like literally anything you want. Second thing you'll need is hosting. Hosting depends a little bit on what you're going to use it for. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but there's lots of options. Just figure out what you want first before purchasing hosting, and it'll make your life a little bit easier. Another question I get is, do I buy a .com? Being Canadian, this is a big question because we get .cas and .coms. Entirely a personal preference. If you want a .com, buy a .com. If it's too expensive, try a different one, like .ca, .io, .net. I mean, there's many. Not a huge advantage over anything, so don't get too hung up on that. Get what you want and get the domain you want. That's my advice there. Decisions start here. Yes. So the type of website you're going to build really has, I guess, 4 avenues that I consider. A static page is just going to be like a very simple website where it's like a logo, maybe a contact form, not even usually a contact form, just like a phone number or an email address or something, just saying coming soon or anything of that sort. Like if you just want a landing, like a very simple, easy website, and you don't want to have to worry about updating it or keeping it up to date with maintenance and things like that. Very static HTML, CSS website is the way to go. Nothing complicated about it. Makes life really easy. And you just kind of, it makes it simple. I can usually turn one of those around in a day or two. So if you have if it's 3 or 4 pages of an about, what we do kind of thing, and a contact us, it's really simple. Web builders, I mean, there's unlimited amount of these, but Squarespace and Wix are, I guess, the two that I see the biggest or the most. GoDaddy is kind of up there. They have a web builder tool as well, but they're great. They're easy. They're do-it-yourself, but there's not a lot of anything to them. You just drag and drop stuff. You put content and pictures and text and whatever, and align them the way you want and send it. That's the way it is. There's no customization to them. CMS builders and CMS are a little bit similar, to me anyway. Most content management systems are a little more robust than like a Squarespace or a Wix. So if you want to reference your content, like your database content, on multiple pages or have relationships or things between different things, and a CMS is the way to go. Builder tools are literally just like drag and drop items on a page. There's no relationships. There's no customization to it. WordPress has even like a free, like you can get yourname.wordpress.com and try it out, and it's like a blog basically. But your WordPress.org is a whole other tool. Drupal is the amount of customization is pretty endless with these. So you can do pretty much anything you want. You can have a blog. You can have like an internet or an intranet. An intranet if you want to do information about your company that your employees need to reference, things like that. Like the possibilities are pretty endless with both of those. Ecommerce is another one with things like Shopify and WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a plugin for WordPress, so if you want to combine the two and have like a marketing page and a store, WooCommerce is an option. I mean, I've seen people run just straight e-commerce stores using WordPress, so it's definitely been done. Shopify is more like one of the builder tools. It's a lot less customizable, but it's also a lot simpler. The pros of sort of a static website are very simple, very low in maintenance. You don't have to keep plugins up to date. You don't have to keep your database up to date. You don't have to do anything really. You just post it and leave it. The downside of it is if you ever want to change anything, you're paying somebody like me to do it, which isn't the end of the world if it's, like an update to a phone number once or twice a year, or like whatever it is, like a little piece that'll change. If you start to do it 3 or 4 times a month, then it doesn't make any sense. Builder tools are, like I said, like you've got very flexible, it's drag and drop content, lots of choices, you can do whatever you want. You don't need a developer to do this. You literally just like go to the tool, drag, drop. You can download different themes for it and things like that. The downside is there's really no customization if you want to change stuff. It's very, very difficult to kind of go through and fix things to the way you want them. So if you want something very custom, you should do it right the first time. The downside of like those builders is they're very slow, in my opinion. Like I've tested a number of them and they just get very slow for site speeds. Which again, like when you're doing it yourself and it's nice and easy, not the end of the world. If you're paying somebody to do it and you're getting a slow site speed out of it, not great. And again, nothing to really customize about it. Custom content management systems, so things like WordPress or Drupal. The big difference I see between WordPress and Drupal is the size. If you're under like 100 pages, I always go with WordPress. It's very easy. The backend is very easy. I see Drupal really coming into play. Like it's designed as a larger CMS, and it starts to come into play at like when you're 200 or 300 pages in. Then it starts to get really, really more noticeable, I guess, on how it manages content and some things like that. But if you're under 100 pages, I always pick WordPress. The customization options for things like Drupal and WordPress are endless. Like it's a PHP based. Now it's a PHP/React based templating form. You can do headless CMSs. So I won't get into that. That's a little more complicated, but the basics are like if you want a custom website to do what you want and have the content management so that you can manage it, you can post blog posts or information or new forums or whatever. Like if you want the ability to update your site by yourself, you're going to want one of these. The downside is you have to maintain them. So keep your plugins up to date, keep your core CMS up to date. And the downside of them being so popular is that there are security issues sometimes. It's very rarely. If you keep your stuff up to date, it's not a big worry. There's some good plugins to go on top and make your security even better. But it is something to keep in mind. If you're not going to keep it up to date, you're going to run into security problems. E-commerce. So for e-commerce, I always suggest, or I have generally a talk with people about what their interests are. So what their goals are at the end. If you're looking for something and you just want to sell a couple of items, you want to make it really easy, you don't want to pay a lot of money, things like a big cartel, not a lot of customization to it. You pick a theme, you post a couple items, you get like 1 or 2 pictures to post them, and it processes everything for you. Shopify is just a bigger, better version of something like Big Cartel. And it's got apps and plugins and things that help you, like with things like shipping. There's really good shipping options. You can plug it into Canada Post, so you get like real-time shipping quotes or things like that. So really depends on your scale and like what you're trying to do. Big Cartel, you can have free stuff again, like yourname.bigcartel.com is free. So you can sell items for free that way. If you're into, I guess, more of like the craft side of things and the more craft side of sales and things like that, if you're looking for more of that, I would suggest Etsy. Etsy has its own little community, and people go on to Etsy to find like crafted items by people. So if you are hand making something, you're probably going to get a better market there because that's where people go to look for things. Unless you want to market yourself, which becomes fairly expensive, but you can always go to Etsy, start there, see if you go to market, and then move over to something else. E-commerce the downside of e-commerce is, again, the maintenance. Most of them, I guess it really depends. Like if you use like plug and play tool like Big Cartel or Etsy or Shopify, you're not updating a lot of things, so there's not a lot of maintenance to it. If you're using things like WooCommerce or Magento or OpenCart or something like that, you're gonna have a lot more maintenance issues. The downside of having like the plug and play tools is that you have to pay for it. So things like Shopify cost, I think you get the first few months for free, but after that it's like $60 a month or $50 a month or whatever it is. But if you can make that back, it's great. Anyway, that's just kind of a quick video I wanted to make and just kind of go over some of the basic questions that I get on a regular basis. So I'll continue this on with some more things, maybe go into a little bit more detail about a certain platform or something. But if you have any questions or any ideas of things you want to know, I'm more than happy to talk about them.